Don't break up with a girl in the kitchen. That is how you end up getting stabbed. Hey, what's up? My name is Ndeda. I am an artist in Nairobi, Kenya, and I love entertainment and lifestyle. And that's the reason why I'm over here with Yetu. And if you like entertainment and lifestyle, check a lot more videos that Yetu has because it's really, really dope. Simple motivation, money. And also, I don't like starving. I kind of like eating. So I realized very early in life that if you do stuff, people will give you money for it. And now that's basically the main motivation. Imagine it's not a deep thing. People are always like, oh, what inspired you to become an actor? I'm like, I like to do it. And I'm like, if you're good at something and people give you money for it, do it. Unless, of course, it's a crime. In which case, don't do it. So, acting, I got into it because of my brother. I knew I wanted to be an actor, right? So I'm like 10 years old. And then I told my brother, my big brother, and he was like, but you're such a shy person. I don't think you'll ever do it. So I literally joined the drama club in high school just to piss him off. Just to show him like, you see, I could do it. And then I did a play. I remember I was, what's that thing when they do? You're stripped down. Like this guy I really looked up to, as he was an actor in my high school. And this guy literally tore me a new asshole during a rehearsal. He was like, you are the worst actor I have ever seen. Please stop doing this. You're 15 years old. You can still change your life. I cried. I went the next, and because this was the day before, literally the day before the first time I'm going on stage to perform in front of a crowd. It was drama festivals. And then I did the play, and then I won Best Actor. And then I had to walk to get my trophy, and he was right there at the front. And he gave me that look of, so you know I was just doing reverse psychology, my friend. I was like, nah. So yeah, fast forward, that was what? When I was 15, 36 now, still acting. Been to a lot of auditions. Some go well, others don't. But that's that. So radio, accident. Because that one I was taking my brother for a radio audition, and then they asked me to audition. I was asked to talk about an artist I loved, and I was going through I wasn't going through a Britney Spears phase. Britney Spears is just awesome. Everyone should listen to Britney Spears. But anyway, I digress. So I took my brother for an audition. They asked me to give it a try. We'd been standing outside for 3 hours, and it was a hot Saturday morning. It was so hot. And this was how this lady won me over. Shout outs to Maria. She said, you've been standing in the heat for 3 hours. This audition is 30 seconds long, and it's in a room with AC. What do you have to lose? I was like, umedinya point. I went, did the thing, talked about Britney Spears. And that was on a Saturday. On Monday afternoon, DJ John calls me and says, hey, dude, do you want to work as a radio presenter? It had never crossed my mind to ever become a radio presenter. And I love radio. But it was just, I was so detached from that the moment I got in from the first day of training, I picked up so fast. And that became a beautiful 13-year run on air, 5 different radio stations. Worked every single day part, from morning to night to weekends. Trained amazing people. And yeah, it's been fun. Nimesahau hiyo ingine. What else do I do? Or writing. Writing, how did we get into writing, Nick? How did we get into that? Oh, Mr. Oscar. So I had this teacher called Mr. Oscar in high school. He taught us English for 1 term. But Mr. Oscar gave us quite an interesting exam before he left. He told us to write a script. Write how many pages? A 2-page script, and it has to be very, very funny. I thought what I wrote was hilarious, but I got 8 out of 20, so I guess that shit wasn't cool. But it was the challenge. It was the challenge that did it for me. I was like, Yani, I can actually write coherent thoughts, because up until then, because I was 16, I was 15. Up until then, the concept of writing I always looked at it like, okay, I used to tell myself, if you don't read, you can't write. Like, if you don't read books, you have no business trying to write. And at that point, I hadn't read a lot of books. I had read like 2, like out of my own volition. Si ati kulazimishwa. So it was that thing that made me start critically thinking about characters and such. And then I just kept writing. I used to write just for my own self. Like, I wouldn't even share these works. The first thing I ever shared after that was, I wrote this play in 2006, right? Yes. So I wrote this play in 2000. Oh my God, it's such a good play. It was a play about these Kenyans who live in this apartment building, and then they get a neighbor. They're very Afrocentric. They're very, we're black, we're proud, fuck the colonizer, nini nini. And then there is this guy who comes to move in next door. He's a Swahili professor, but this Swahili professor is white. It's this white guy, and I remember the guy who played it was this guy called Sean Klotzman. This play was done in USIU, actually. Fun fact, that was the first time a play had ever been staged in the USIU auditorium. People in USIU, at least when I was there, people never went to school on Friday because there wasn't class on Fridays. However, so imagine trying to convince people to come to school to watch a play. Hata kama tickets zilikuwa 50 bob. Imagine they came and it was so packed. It's a very funny comedy. I'm always told I should ifanywe tena. But I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Because yeah, it was nice. It was nice. So that was writing. Painting, I just do it for fun. But I like that I can do it. It's a dope thing. Not to sound cocky, it's not, no, actually, yeah. I have experienced stage fright. I just haven't experienced it as an actor. I have experienced it as an MC. And there are many reasons why. Number one, I am so good at keeping time. So if I'm emceeing an event like this one, ilikuwa ya nini? It was some event anyway. So the point was, this event was starting at 6 p.m. So I, being the punctual guy that I am, I showed up at 4 p.m. Make sure that I've seen everything. I'm like, so this is how we're going to do this thing. Cool. And then it gets to like 5:45, and I just start feeling like this anxiety. I'm just like, okay, how is this going to go? It was a very corporate event. What was it? KPMG. Something. I just remember all the CEOs, managers. It was like an event for them, kuwapigia debe. And I just started getting very, very nervous. You know the kind that you get that cold sweat? I could feel it trickling. So I'm standing like this and I'm seeing people walking in. And I'm just like, what if these guys don't get your jokes? What if you mess this up? I'm like, why am I freaking out? Best thing though was, I like the way stage fright works. If you're able to harness it well enough, you will always use it to your advantage. So I remember I was shaking, and then the first thing I said was, because it was a golf event, this will make sense why. And the first thing I said when I got on stage was, Tiger Woods, remember this, Nick, you say? You said, Tiger Woods loves having his balls polished and kissed before he uses them. And then everyone was like, oh yes, and he also plays golf. And guys just started laughing, and because it was the MD who just burst out laughing, and I was like, finally, calmed me down, and it was great. And then there was something, anyway, yeah. Stage fright sorted. Studied, yes, to a certain extent. So when I was in uni, I did a lot. I studied journalism. Okay, my major was journalism, but I did journalism as a major, and then I did Spanish as a minor, and I also took industrial psychology as a major, because I was doing a double major. And then, what was that other thing that I learned? Philosophy and African philosophy. So all those things, as an actor, hell yeah. But I never really went to acting school. But radio was made easy with the fact that I was studying it. So ilikuwa inadonjo very easily. Well, given all the different things that I do, I guess each had its own. Like for radio, I think it was because when I was on Homeboys was the first station I was on. Yeah, not so much, no. For radio was when I did XFM, when I started doing the morning show on XFM. Only because of the clout that had already been generated by that show. It used to be hosted by Farid Kimani. Amazing, very popular guy. And then suddenly this guy's taking over his show. So that for me, radio, that's when I was like, finally, Mtani Tambua. And I was really good. I won Best Radio Presenter twice. I mean, I must have been good. For acting was when I did Sugar. And here is why. For me, I felt like it was a career turning point for me. Maybe, I can't say I became that popular, but I did become quite popular after it. Was because we were 800 people. They auditioned 800 people for that role, and I got it. Considering I was never even meant to be seen. I sneaked in, thanks to Antonio Sol. Alifanya Magendo like this, was like, this guy's an actor. Because they were really not looking for I didn't even hear about the auditions. It's Anto who just told me, if you come through to the theater, I can sneak you in and we'll just say that you were contacted. Now, nearly shine, man. I was so good. I ended up going to South Africa to shoot Jacob's Cross, which was, yes, Jacob's Cross was the highlight, actually. You know why? Because I got arrested at the airport. They wanted to detain me. There was a problem with my visa, with my passport. They hadn't written the return date. So they thought that I'd sneaked into the country and I was trying to sneak out. And I was put in a room. You know the way they do it in the movies that a light, there's a guy sitting on this side, you're sitting on that side, and it's ominous? That shit is real. It's absolutely real. That's exactly what they did. And I sat there and I was freaking out. I'm just like, Yani, I'm going to be arrested in South Africa. This was my last day. I've been filming for 6 months. Last day, this is happening. And then, because they were like, dude, you must have sneaked. And then the fact that I was from Kenya was made them like, hey, we don't trust you Kenyans. And then the guy just asked me, bro, level with me. What are you doing in this country? I told him, dude, I'm an actor. Where do you act? I told him Jacob's Cross. This dude legit went like, wait, you are Kolonzo. And because my character was called Kalonzo, but everyone in South Africa kept saying Kolonzo. So he shouts, he's like, Kolonzo. So his friend comes in, he's like, what's up? It's like, no, remember last night's episode of Jacob's Cross? This is the dude. This is a cab driver. And we're like, yeah. Then they were like, oh, okay. Usually, you would have ended up in some shit. But I saw you on TV. And I believe your story, so next time, make sure they write a date. And then I walked out of there like a boss. It was so wild, yeah. General working days usually start at like 4 a.m. What I'm trying to do nowadays, I haven't succeeded in it, but I'm trying to do this thing where I write first, do all the writing you need before like maybe 8 in the morning, because then I have either I go on set to shoot if I'm filming something, or go for rehearsals, because rehearsals are usually like at 7 in the morning. Sometimes I sneak in time for gym. And what do you do by afternoon? By afternoon, I really just go with because this is the thing, there are no identical days for me. Today, I had a 6-hour rehearsal. Tomorrow, I have a photo shoot. On Wednesday, I have a dress rehearsal for this play that we've got going. And I also have to do some comedy thing with this lady. So each day is different. The only thing that is standard is I always wake up at 4. That I can't change because I've been waking up at 4 since I was like 12. So inakuanga poa. The problem is I don't eat much and I don't sleep enough. So that is something I'm trying to work on. That's easy, acting. Acting for sure, because acting was the first thing I identified as something I want to do out of my own volition. Painting came a close second. Radio, TV presenting, like all those, like I know the one thing I want to do, even when as old as I live, I know the one thing I always want to do is act. I knew that I wasn't going to do radio forever. I know TV hosting is fun, but I don't think I want to be doing that when I'm, who knows? You know, you also don't know. Money is a beautiful motivator. It really is. The best has, it's the characters you get to play because if you do it right, if you do your character justice and do your research and do your homework, the payoff is not just playing that role. The payoff for me, in my opinion, is you get to see life from a different perspective. That's really the thing that fascinates me about acting. It's like, it's not just that you get to be different people, it's you get to see and experience life through a nini that's not your own. Like when I once did a play where I was playing a blind guy and I had to learn how to read and write Braille. I had to learn how to move without, like, I'd literally show up there at like 9 a.m. every morning. I'd get there at 9 and they would give me 30 seconds to go anywhere in the place, like just walk around. At 9:30, they put a blindfold on me and I have to be in a blindfold until about 3 p.m. And they would ask me to do crazy shit like, you saw that kitchen? I'm like, yes, I remember the kitchen. They're like, go to the kitchen and get me a cup or something. And you know, I have to do it blind. And it used to be scary. I remember how scared I used to get. Like to the point sometimes I'd be petrified. Because like one time, niliambiwa niende nje ya gate. I was like, to do what? Just go to the gate. And I remember the walk was so scary. And I remember telling myself, is this how people who are blind feel about just being in spaces where you can't control what's coming at you? So that for me was one of the best lessons in why I love acting. I was like, it's about the perspective. It makes you respect people. I think it just gives you a nice layer of respect that you ordinarily wouldn't give, because it's not your fault if you always see you can't empathize with someone who doesn't see. And it's not even your fault, it's because that's how you are. But when you're in that situation, when you're in their shoes, then you're like, okay, by the way, I need to be slowing my roll when I talk like this, when I do this, when I react to these kind of people. So that's what I like.
Two things you learned from working on 18 hours?
I learned too many things, but two. CPR, top apple Jew. I learned a lot of first aid, medical type things. I still remember some of them. Others, of course, they disappear. But yes, that was definitely one thing I learned. What else did I learn that was very... I learned how to put on gloves. I know it's a small thing, but I can do it in record speed. I'm talking about the latex gloves. I can do that shit in like 5 seconds nowadays. And I'm talking about both, like grab, foot, stab, throw. It's because I had to do it every day, and I had to do it over and over and over and over again. It's a skill. I used to even have it on my nini, my bio on Twitter. It's like, I can put on gloves very fast, which some women thought meant I put on condoms fast. But I'm like, no, watch my fucking movie. It's amazing. It's a great movie. Major. I would love to have a conversation with Major because I think it's just so fucking cool. I'd want to know, like, how do you come up with your songs, fam? And does he always have a happy disposition? What does he do when he's upset? Does he really like tumblers, or does he feel like he's trapped because one day he did a video with it and then he did another one? I don't know. Does he miss, because he grew up in Nyeri, I think. Alitoka Nyeri or something like that. Yeah, Major. Definitely Major. Okonkwo. Don't break up with a girl in the kitchen. That is how you end up getting stabbed. But we're not talking about that. I'm alive, so that's all. Yeah, that's literally what I would tell them. Leisure time, I love two things. Either I am watching music videos or I'm watching cartoons. Preferably, I like cartoons. I really love cartoons ever since I was a kid. So When I get free time, I have favorites in terms of like, okay, if we're talking old school cartoons, and by old school we're talking 1960s, 70s, 80s, yes. There are levels to this. Those we're talking about Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Specifically Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? There's another series now, the new version Scooby-Doo, no. If we're talking 90s cartoons, I'm gonna say Gargoyles. Brilliant show. If you've never watched it, it's on YouTube. Fantastic show. It's so ahead of its time. But you see, that's a serious show. It's not a funny show. For a funny show, we're talking Dexter's Lab, okay? And not the Dexter's Lab when they changed the animators, the original Dexter's Lab when they used to draw him different and it was a lot funnier. If we're doing 2000s, we're talking about this show. I know the name. Spaced Out. It's called Spaced Out. On an overboard station. Such a good one. If we're talking 2010s, those I haven't watched much of, but Apple I can't say. Maybe the new school Johnny Bravo, but I feel like Johnny Bravo was early 2000s more than 2010s. But cartoons for sure, any day. I do not. I don't think of life like that. I understand the question and the and the concept. Here's what I am more of. I believe in life, you're here to experience life. So for me, I just want to do dope shit because I know I'm dope, and that's it. If I'll be remembered for being dope, well and good. But it's not. I'm not trying to do stuff to make history. Rather, I do stuff because they make me happy, and it's how I express myself. And I mean, let's be real. Everyone wants to live forever, and I get it. Some do it through children, others do it through their work, but at some point, if you want to get very, very philosophical, at some point, every one of us will be forgotten. Every single one. Even Shakespeare, been around for years, hundreds of years, but one day, at one point, you will be forgotten. So I'm like, see, you just ishi to life, man. Just do you. Because there are two decisions I've made. I just don't know which one was more bold. Because it depends on how you say it, you might sound like a dick. I think the boldest decision, was loving someone. Because I loved her to the point I could do anything for her. But there was one thing she asked me to do and I couldn't do it. And that thing crushed me till today. But yes, new life, man. New life.